Hi friends, let's take a look at Ethereum together. I'm Rocky Outcrop. I do this every day. So if you find some value in this episode, hit that subscribe button. I know that there's a lot of people who already have hit that subscribe button. You're the best. Thank you so much. Okay, so you don't need to hear me asking every time. I appreciate there's a bit of a conflict of interest there. You know, there's the people who've already subscribed. How many times can you say hit the subscribe button to people that have already subscribed? I don't know. The big YouTube channels seem to do it all the time, so I guess people don't get too frustrated. I hope that you're one of them. So what do we have here? Just looking at this in terms of the 4-hour time frame to try and keep things nice and neat and simple. What do we have? Convergent here as part of this downward trend. Lower high, high, lower high, lower highs, whatever. They're not hidden bearish divergence. There's none of that. There's like no real bullish divergence here in this thing. It's just downward at the minute. Okie dokie. We've seemed to have had the what time frame did I draw in that head and shoulders type thing on the stochastics previously? Was it 12 hours? Well, we seem to have had that play out at the minute with this move towards the downside really here that we experienced yesterday coming into the 230s area. So I think it kind of speaks for itself. This zone here, we've spoken about it quite a lot. Actually, it doesn't speak for itself. We've spoken about it already. That that this box here is important. If I could have always had it drawn in down here to the 22 area, I think that it's good. Stands, it does a lot. A picture says 1,000 words or whatever. Here at this point here, if we break down below the 230 area, I would expect to move down here to this hey, are we faking out or breaking out zone where we have these couple of lines coming in at like the 220, 222, 220 area. Thereafter, I would look towards the lower part of this descending broadening wedge, which you can see on the bigger time frames a bit easier. The two orange lines, this orangey line here at the top, this orangey line at the bottom, descending broadening wedge type thing. Down here at that 215 area. If we then break down below there, I'm looking down to 289, 275, 265, really. Maybe I should 195, 185, 175, 165 would be my three targets. Beyond that area, obviously 200 I think speaks for itself. They could find a bit of it could be an inflection zone just purely based or pivot point based on the fact that it's 200. We know that it's below the where it was line, which puts us back inside the where we had previously in a descending triangle type formation. And if we break down towards the lower side, then we'd be looking as well at are we closing lower than 225 and 220, because that's the previous lows areas that we're looking at. And if we go down below there, then that's fairly bad. Then we could start looking down to this zone here, really in between the 200, the 195. Excuse me. Nino. Between the 195 and 215 areas here on the chart. So, you could be looking at that at this zone and asking questions about that. If we don't see a turnaround there, then, we're breaking further down. But I think that, definitely the VPVR would show up a lot of information on the right just here, because as you can tell, a lot of price action happened there. So, there's opportunities for the price to be picked up. If you're looking towards the top side, the first target has to be 238. That's where we had this inflection at here in the past. We saw a lot of support here, which broke. Now it's become resistance, no doubt. So then if we were to make it above that, then we're looking, I suppose you could say then the 242 area that we spoke about before. That one's not so hot. Instead, I'd be looking up towards that 248 area, and then thereafter 255 if you wanted to move towards the top side. Of course, then there's other things that we could take into account, such as this long-term downward sloping trend line. I don't know why it's not fitting on. Did I draw it in log or something? I don't know. Maybe a different time frame, but that's where we're looking up to then thereafter, sort of the 258 area, and I think that's good enough for trading amount at the minute. I could talk about the broader things and sort of wax on about the bigger trend and where things could be going in general and whatever else, but I'm not going to. Instead, I'm just going to talk about what it would be like if you're trading this thing. So in order to facilitate that a little bit more, I'm going to drop down to the lower time frames, see that we've still not got any sort of divergence showing up here in terms of this downward movement here. This, of course, is sideways, in terms of the bigger picture. Is this higher than over there? It's not higher, so it's not got an upward trend to look at. Yeah, so just in terms of trading this thing, I would be looking to like, we're in the middle of a range at the minute, so I would say that 237 would probably be a decent shorting opportunity for you, to be honest with you. 230 would be a fairly low risk area for longing at, but of course, in terms of low risk, I mean managing your risk, to be able to manage it, because you'd be able to stop out fairly quickly there, knowing that things had gone wrong should you see the prices pushing down past that area. Then you could, of course, then try the same trick work again at 221, or indeed short it down towards that area if you wanted to. And then if you were looking beyond that, I'd look down towards the 215 area thereafter. The 236 Fibonacci could come in at 217 or 18 if we'd drawn it in using the body to body. And it's worth pointing out as well that we had little inflection zones here, and that they had this the wicks and bodies coming up there and touching it in the past, and then being supported by it then as well over there on the 29th of May. So it's probably worth pointing that out, and as well over here on the 28th of June as well. So worth pointing out as well. That's something to be looked out for. And yeah, I think that's going to do for today. I really do appreciate people tuning in. Let me know if there's something that you want to look at though. Maybe you want to look at the Ethereum Bitcoin pair. Now I can't really be bothered doing that in today's episode, so you can let me know in the comments down below though if you really want to see that. And of course I'd be more than happy to include it in there. It's just you don't get very much demand for it. And as you can see here, just looking at where the price line's coming in at, this is a bit of an inflection point here that we're at right now at this sort of 0.254, you know. So moving on beyond that, then I'd really just kind of look down to that 244 area. I've not got the moving averages or the Bollinger Bands on today because I'm just kind of, you know, testing the waters, seeing if people missed them. Let me know in the comments down below if you missed seeing them. Of course, I didn't have them in the Bitcoin video either. Actually, if I'm perfectly honest with you, I took them off and then forgot to put them back on. I've kind of done the same here with this one. Let's just put them on then, shall we, and see what they're saying just for a minute. Well, I think they're saying the same things that I've been saying. Actually, you know, but just here, that's the 3 hour time. Who cares about 3 hours? Let's look at 4 hours for now. Okay, that's looking like the same thing. And the 1 hour time frame, well, you can see it's really kind of tightening here. So, you know, we know that there's going to be something at some point soon enough, but it's those levels we've already identified that we're looking at, really, to be honest with you. Instead, the 12 hour looked like it was kind of just started to expand there on this one, which is kind of interesting. We could trace this down the way, remember, taking us down towards that point. I'd look out for how it interact around those lines at that time. Come outside of the area, come back up to touch it again here, the baseline anyway, sorry, in the 24-hour time frame. But we're well and truly below it at the minute, you know. And if we're looking down the way, you can see the Bollinger Band coming in there at that point of the 220 area. So it's all the things that we've already spoken about. I think we've already covered it, you know. And I could do the same with the moving averages. Yeah, we've already covered everything. You know, it's all exactly the same. It's just that, and they happen to be lining up. So there is confluence there. I invite you to go and look at that. If you want them to be in all the episodes, let me know. I'm moving on now. Thank you so much for tuning in. I've been Rocky Outcrop. You can share this video with your friends quite easily by saying, you know, go to youtube.com/RockyOutcrop, and then you'll have introduced somebody to the best crypto trading community on YouTube. That's us, by the way. That's us. So that's you. You're amazing. Thanks so much for tuning in. Really appreciate it. I'll catch you next time.